Hey, it's Aaron, and today I want to do something that's slightly outside of the normal wheelhouse here, but it is automotive related. So if you'll bear with me, you'll see how this ties in. It has to do with electric cars and with China specifically. The reason I bring this up is because somebody asked me, they sent me an article from the Mises Institute talking about China's financial situation, which is horrible, even compared to ours. It's horrible. And economics are one of my like kind of side hobbies. It's one of the things I like to research and do. So I was reading through that, and then I was thinking, the Chinese government is in a situation where they're facing a big financial cliff. Right now, they're circulating about $7 trillion in that's U.S. dollars in non-performing loans, which are loans that are made purely to pay debt, and so it's basically new debt to pay old debt. For perspective on that, when the financial crisis of 2008 and 2009 happened here, we were at the 1 trillion mark. So that shows you the kind of cliff that China is looking at right now. Also, China is a net importer. They are not a net exporter of goods. They actually import more food than any other country in the world because they cannot grow enough food to feed their own population. Because I'm wondering if the electric vehicle will be the saving grace for China's economic problems, or at least something that allows them to stave it off for quite a while. And the reason I say that is because if you remember the video I did a couple of days ago, I talked about how one of the major roadblocks that we face in the US towards mass EV adoption is the lack of infrastructure. We do not have the materials to make electric vehicles. We have to import that, and right now, a lot of those materials, the vast majority of them, are in China. China holds a stranglehold on a bunch of things. First off, they are the world's number one producer of lithium batteries, and they are the number one producer of batteries for electric vehicles. They hold a lot of the resources required to make those batteries, and they have trade agreements that are a lot of the stuff that they have to import for them is coming from places that we would have to compete to get those same things. So that's an important thing to note. Also, China is the world's largest producer and one of the only producers of the metals required to make the electric motor. And that's also a big deal. Now, it's also worth noting, I'm going to show you a Reuters story that I also used in the last one. And this Reuters story is showing how Biden does not plan, so our current president does not plan to expand mining in the U.S. for these materials. Instead, the plan is to to import from other countries and process them here. That's not a big deal, but is a big deal. Two reasons for that. One, the places he's trying to get it from are mostly South America, Canada, places like that. And the reason they're avoiding mining here is, of course, environmental. The second point is that those countries, especially South America, they're already in trade agreements with China. So it's Australia especially. And that's one of the big places Biden is hoping to get this stuff from. These trade agreements are ongoing. The U.S. Government is trying to make these agreements, put them in place, and get them going, and then consequently start encouraging the processing facilities to be built here so that businesses can get going with that. But it's a big conundrum, and I'm kind of looking at the whole thing, looking at it. We have 9 years to hit his goal of 50% in EV sales, and I don't see that as being possible, even if these trade agreements started tomorrow, because there's a big bottleneck in all of this stuff, and China is that bottleneck, and China would be able to potentially use that bottleneck as a way to to bolster their own finances to make up for the fact that they are so deep in the hole. And if they do that, if that is the case, it is going to greatly delay electric vehicle adoption in this country and in a bunch of other countries. So I think it's worth noting. Again, this is slightly outside of the wheelhouse of what I usually do here, but it's a matter of economics, and a lot of the EV adoption things that we face are purely economic. They all come down to things like trade, and uh, almost all of them are trade. They all come down to trade and facility, the ability to actually make them. So hopefully this kind of helps. Every article I've referenced, there's 3 of them. They'll be down in the description down there, so you can check those out yourself. You can decide whether or not it means anything to you, and you can try to refute it, because I know I'm talking about EVs, so that means there's going to be people that are unhappy with whatever I said, no matter how I say it. That's how it is. So anyway, this was not really a question from somebody. It was something I thought of because I saw all of these things just kind of come together in my head. But if you have a question and you want to ask it, or if you have comments on this, or info that you want to share about it, or something that you think is very relevant to this, go ahead, hit it in the links below. It may get moderated if you include a link, but I will prove anything that is relevant to this. So go nuts. Let me know what you think on this. All right? Cool. This has been Aaron. Talk to you again soon.